stay in this same drawing for the next little demonstration, and that's to do with contours. We're just going to put on some totally made up contours here and show you a wee bit about those. They're often missed off drawings, and they can tell quite a bit about how a building works, how the approach to a building works, you know, which areas are going to be flat in relation to the building, which areas are sloping. And it doesn't take long to add some of this information back onto a drawing. They're essential when we start a drawing, but we seem to forget that they exist and never seem to show them on the final drawings. Okay, the section here isn't needed anymore. I'm going to delete that information, and just for now I'm going to create a new layer. The dialog box appear, it tends to be a bit slow. Here it is. So the new current layer, and call it contour. Now I don't want the contours drawn darkly, so actually this 253 color would suit exactly. So choose color for 253 for your contours. It'll just draw them thin grey lines, and they won't take over the drawing. Okay, make that current and close the layers dialog. Now if you turn off size shadow build just now. Okay, right, what we're going to do is use the polyline command, and these are completely made up contours. Okay, so bear this in mind. So polyline on, you could turn off ortho, and what I'm going to do is do a very basic contour. Okay, so this is ignoring anything to do with what's happening at the road. Okay, super simple. Now let's do one that's got slightly more detail to it. So I'll draw another contour line along here. Now when I get nearer the road, what I would need to do is actually tilt the contour down a wee bit, because the road would tend to be higher than the ground around it. So if I use the nearest OSNAP, that's NEA, and return, I can go to the road. I want to go up the road a tiny bit. Say there's a step from the pavement down to the ground. Okay, then across the road, so I'll take perpendicular, then back down a tiny bit, then a slope, and then the contour picks up back on its natural line. So I'm just taking this right the way through the building in that kind of fashion. Now let's say the high point is up here and the ground slopes down in this direction, sloping from high to low. Now to make our house buildable, what we need to do is kind of change the contours. We need to kind of belly out a wee bit here, so there's a bit more flat land. So if the distance between these two contours was widened, you've got more level land to build on. So let's say we come away from this one a bit sooner. So this is like the proposed shape of the land. Okay, so let's say these contours are 2 meters apart. We've given ourselves 2 meters in a much wider gap, so there's more chance of us being able to build this house on level ground. But the existing contour, the third one down, might not have been changed. So it approaches the road, and what we did last time, we did nearest, a tiny step up, then across to the other side of the road, then another nearest, and this contour has been adjusted a bit, and it picks up on its existing line. Then perhaps the fourth contour down, there's been no change to this one, so polyline again, get near the road, do nearest, tiny step up, perpendicular, nearest, slope down, and then it goes away following the natural lie of the land. Okay, it's a tiny bit of work, but it's very useful. So I've got an area, a bit of contour here that's kind of an existing one, and this is the proposed. So the impact on the site is fairly dramatic. We've got quite a steep bit of ground here. We're changing 4 meters in that small amount of space. So it's 2 meters between those two, but 4 meters between these two. So this is quite steep. So if you stood here, the ground would drop away from you quite quickly. So effectively that's got quite a good view. And that's how this is kind of works out. You're able to understand the shape of the ground just from some lines. So I'll use the trim command to chop away that bit. Now it's useful if you put some heights on the contour so we know what the level is. Now they could be relative to each other, so you could say 0, 2, 4, 6, or what we usually do is put in the real height in meters. So yes, let's use the DT command for this. It's short for dynamic text. So it's DT. Turn the O-snaps off, we don't need those. I'm going to pick a start point for my text just here. Now the height of the text, because this is in model space, 2.5 millimeters is microscopic. I'd need a text height quite big. So let's say 1,000, so it's a meter high. And then it's saying what rotation for the text. To get it in line with the contour, which helps you understand the contours, just move your cursor. Make sure ortho's not on. Okay, and let's say this one is at 168 meters. Press return. Return again to stop the command. Now move the piece of text into the contour line. And then use the break command, BR, return, to create a gap. Your O-snaps are off, so it's quite easy to do. Okay, then we do that another 3 times. So DT, return, start point for the text. The height will be the same, so press return, but the angle will be different. So use select to do that. And this one's 2 meters less, so it's 166 meters. Return twice. M, return, pick up the text, return. Base point, destination. Then break, so BR, return. Pick your 2 points. Already looking quite tidy. So try and be consistent, work about the same distance away from the end of each contour. Okay, so I've jumped ahead and put the other 2 numbers on. It's as I say, it's an often missed out bit of information on a site which is extremely useful. It should be on your existing drawings, and it should also be on your proposed drawings. Let's have a quick look at our layout now. And if I bring back on the shadows, this is going to look quite presentable. Now this layout hasn't been set up just yet, so let's just do that just now. So right click the layout, go to page setup manager, can't see this on the screen capture, then modify. Let's have a wee think about it. Change to Adobe PDF just to save printing at the moment. Pen settings file should be black and color, CTB. Layout there, scale 1:1, click OK. Then click close. If I try a block preview, and we can see the line weight showing up, the shadows look quite quite engaging. The text and the contours are not too strong. They're just using grey. Could use an even lighter colour for that if we wanted to. So it's starting to develop. The next exercise will show us how we get from building over to road.